It is the Jesse Kelly Show, final hour of the Jesse Kelly Show. And then it's officially the weekend, baby, because Ask Dr. Jesse Friday counts as the weekend. That's what by the way, we had to drop the guy because he supposedly cussed. Chris went back and listened again. He totally didn't cuss at all. We just hung up on him for no reason. Look, it's his fault for doing the weird thing, Chris. I didn't know what was going on. We panicked. All right. Get to a couple emails before we get back to all this nonsense. 877-377-4373. World famous coloring book author. Can you settle a bet we have on the job? Is the amount of pictures in the book over or under 5? Okay, 1, it's not a coloring book. 2, if you want to color in it, that's actually okay. I think that would be cool. 3, there are no pictures in the Anti-Communist Manifesto. However, I should say, I didn't come up with this idea. Somebody yesterday did. I think it's on social media. Somebody had a hilarious idea that, you know how the books will have that section right in the middle of the books with all kinds of pictures. You ever seen one of those before? You know what I'm talking about, Chris? Chris has read so few books, he doesn't know what I'm talking about. Okay, everyone else who's read a book knows what I'm talking about. That if you're reading some book, a World War II book or something like that, in the middle there'll be all these pictures from that era and from the book story. Someone had a funny thought. If I ever write another book, and I don't know that I ever will, but if I ever write another book, make all the pictures of me. Even though the book isn't about me at all. It would be so annoying. And the best part about that is listeners of the show will totally get it. They'll all get it. They'll all laugh and get it. People who aren't will be totally lost. Hey, what is it? Why is it only pictures of him? I don't understand. And then we'll have fun at their expense too. Hey, Jesse, can you please make an audiobook? It has to be your voice, though. Then I can listen to your book on your days off. You should have plenty of time to do it since you're part-time and all. I don't have any plans to do an audiobook. That doesn't mean there won't be one. I just don't. And that's a lot. That is a lot. That is a lot of extra stuff. All right. We'll get back to these calls here in just a second. Russia, Ukraine. I want to make sure I answer what that guy said. Where do I see it going? What do I see happening? Well, right now, keep in mind, this goes clear back to Eisenhower. They were warning about the military-industrial complex. Now, what is that? After World War II, you see, prior to World War II, prior to World War I, America believed what the founders believed, that our military in general should be pretty small. Our Navy always has to be awesome. Nowadays, with the way combat is advanced, our Air Force, I can't believe I'm saying that, has to be up to date and awesome. Just because you can't design new fighter jets and train new pilots in a couple months. You can't. But other than that, our military should be small, and our foreign involvement should be rare. That's what the founders of the nation, that's what they talked about endlessly. In fact, I'll try to remember to do this tomorrow, if not tonight. If I had planned this out, I'd have done this during the break. Go read at least portions of George Washington's farewell address. He lays it out pretty well. It's not that long, Chris, but the section I'm thinking about is really not that long. So anyway, I'll bring that up. But up to World War I, we didn't want to get involved. We had no desire to get involved in World War I because that's how America did it. Woodrow Wilson basically hoodwinks us to get involved in that war. We go lose a bunch of Americans in some European war that has nothing to do with us. Okay, that ends. We draw the military down. Then World War II sparks off. There's this huge buildup in World War II of a military like the world has never seen. Our Navy, by the end of World War II, was honestly, and I say this out of admiration for it. This is not a put down. It was way too powerful. Our Navy, by the end of World War II, could probably have swept every other Navy on the planet combined off the seas. It was so over the top. The armadas we had, it was way too much. And keep in mind, during World War II, it was such a long affair that a lot of companies in this country figured out war is worth a lot of money. It's worth a lot of money. Well, yeah, I'm not going over there to die. I'm not getting shot at. My wife ain't getting a letter saying I'm never coming home. What am I getting? I'm getting a profit loss sheet saying that my brand new munitions factory just set another profits record and I got a fatty Christmas bonus coming this year. But at the end of World War II, as per usual, we started massive drawdown again. Then Korea happens. Korea was really what changed it. Most people don't know about this. Korea happens. Korea kicks off. All of a sudden, we panic because we don't have, quote, enough trained troops. Remember, there were Marines finishing boot camp on the ships on the way over to Korea. That's how few troops we had. That's how raw our guys were that we sent in there. That scared America awake into believing that we had to have this huge military at all times. But the thing about a military is it's just human nature. If I was to give you a hammer right now, just you and me sitting around here in the studio, and I was to give you a hammer, hey, carry this hammer around, you would eventually, in probably a very short amount of time, you would hit something with it. You'd be slapping it into your palm. You'd be pounding it on the desk. You'd be finding something around here. Why? It's just human nature to use something like that. When you have the biggest, baddest military in the world, it goes against human nature to just let it sit. So we had Iraq, we had Afghanistan, weapons of mass destruction and all that. Okay, they wrap up Afghanistan in a really embarrassing fashion. Now that huge military comes back home, and we have all these defense contractors who spend who knows how much money lobbying the government on our behalf because they like it when we're shooting missiles and bombs and bullets at people. Well, now we don't have any more conflicts. No Iraq, no Afghanistan. Well, now the gravy train has rolled back in. It's Russia, Ukraine. As we have decided we're going to send all the missiles and tanks and whatever Ukraine needs, our defense contractors are getting paid here at home to remake those things so our military has them again. What am I saying to you? I think that this is heading towards an ugly place because I believe we're heading towards a place where it can't be stopped. I think we're heading towards a place where there's going to have to be an escalation from the Russian side, which we really haven't seen yet. And look, don't scream at the radio. I know Russia started it. I know Russia invaded. I'm talking about a Russian escalation with us, with somebody other than Ukraine. Eventually, we keep pushing, they're going to have to. Where that goes from there, man, I don't know. Chris asks, what if they nuke Ukraine? What I believe, this is just what I think, Russia has been building for a long time. We have them too, but Russia has more than we do. Russia has what are called tactical nuclear weapons. When you think of a nuclear weapon, or I think of a nuclear weapon, you think to something attached to some big, gigantic missile that we're going to lob 1,000 miles away and make Moscow disappear. Well, the challenge in nuclear technology has actually not been creating bigger ones because they've created ones that are so big they just kill everything now. The challenge has been creating small ones. Can you create a nuclear weapon that can fit in a backpack and be placed on a battlefield somewhere? And instead of taking out a city, you take out a grid square. That's 1,000 meters by 1,000 meters, by the way. I believe that we will see some sort of, this is a total guess. I have no inside information on this. I think we will see some sort of a demonstration on that from Russia. Hopefully not. I don't hope we don't see it at all, but inevitable. I believe it's inevitable that they're going to have to do something. You can't allow, not just America, you can't allow essentially the world to line up against you and escalate against you without end. You eventually have to escalate too. And I know they haven't wanted to do that because this is going to be devastating for Russia, but they're going to have to do something. Which brings us to the fact there's a Chinese spy satellite flying over Montana. In case you're not from Montana or maybe you're sitting there and you're doing a little rural stereotyping, you should understand there are nuclear silos, many of them in Montana. This is open information. You have them up there away from the cities, out in the open where you can launch missiles and hit places very far away. All right, we're getting back to your phone calls because we need to know the ugly person in your life who needs a face mask in order to stay safe. And we'll also keep going off of various topics you have, all right? But again, headline, Russia warns it will gain the world's attention on the first anniversary of Ukraine war. That doesn't sound very good.
Support the First TV today and get instant access to exclusive specials like Who is Ron DeSantis, The History of FBI Scandals, and America's Worst Presidents. Visit thefirsttv.com/support or download the First TV app to become a supporter and start watching today.